Today is September 19th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are going to continue Chapter 5, How It Works. We'll be reading page 68. Out of the 12 and 12, we're going to continue Step 10 by reading page 94. And of course, we'll read today's daily reflection and 24 hours a day. So with that, my friends, just a beautiful good morning to you. We've been given another brand new set of 24 hours, clean slate, and it's up to us today who we decide to be. And man, what a blessing it is just to be alive and sober. Oh my goodness. Don't even get me started. So let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, so if you recall from yesterday's reading, oh man, we've had some great stuff. We talked about the sick man's prayer 2 days ago. Yesterday we talked about, not taking other people's inventory, but just worrying about our own. And I love that it talks about, we don't have to do this inventory entirely with red ink. And somebody brought that to my attention early on and said, hey, look, for every negative quality or negative thing that you write down, why don't you write a positive thing that you either did that day or what you've done in the past? And that really helped me. It seemed to take some of the scariness out of step 4 away. But anyways, I've rambled. So let's go ahead and get to the reading today. Page 68. We reviewed our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment in connection with them. We asked ourselves why we had them. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Self-reliance was good as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. Some of us once had great self-confidence, but didn't fully solve the fear problem, or any other. When it made us cocky, it was worse. Perhaps there is a better way. We think so, for we are now on a different basis, the basis of trusting and relying upon God. We trust infinite God rather than our finite selves. We are in the world to play the role He assigns. Just to the extent that we do as we think He would have us, we humbly rely on Him, does He enable us to match calamity with serenity. We never apologize to anyone for depending upon our Creator. We can laugh at those who think spirituality the way of weakness. Paradoxically, it is the way of strength. The verdict of the ages is that faith means courage. All men of faith have courage. They trust their God. We never apologize for God. Instead, we let Him demonstrate through us what He can do. We ask Him to remove our fear and direct our attention to what He would have us be. At once, we commence to outgrow fear. Moving on over the 12 and 12, we're on step 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Page 94. As we glance down the debit side of the day's ledger, we should carefully examine our motives in each thought or act that appears to be wrong. In most cases, our motives won't be hard to see and understand. When prideful, angry, jealous, anxious, or fearful, we acted accordingly, and that was that. Here we only recognize that we did act or think badly, try to visualize how we might have done better, and resolve with God's help to carry these lessons over into tomorrow, making, of course, any amends still neglected. But in other instances, only the closest scrutiny will reveal what our true motives were. There are cases where our ancient enemy, rationalization, has stepped in and has justified conduct which was really wrong. The temptation here is to imagine that we had good motives and reasons when we really didn't. Daily Reflection, September 19th. Acceptance. We admitted we couldn't lick alcohol with our own remaining resources. And so we accepted the further fact that dependence upon a higher power, if only our AA group, could do this hitherto impossible job. The moment we were able to accept these facts fully, our release from the alcohol compulsion had begun. As Bill sees it, page 109. Freedom came to me only with my acceptance that I could turn my will and my life over to the care of my higher power, whom I call God. Serenity seeped into the chaos of my life when I accepted that what I was going through was life, and that God would help me through my difficulties, and much more as well. Since then, He has helped me through all of my difficulties. When I accept situations as they are, not as I wish them to be, then I can begin to grow and have serenity and peace of mind. 24 hours a day, September 19th. AA Thought for the Day. Let us continue with steps 2, 3, and 11. We must turn to a higher power for help, because we are helpless ourselves. When we put our drinking problem in God's hands and leave it there, we have made the most important decision of our lives. From then on, we trust God for the strength to keep sober. This takes us off the center of the universe and allows us to transfer our problems to a power outside ourselves. By prayer and meditation, we seek to improve our conscious contact with God. We try to live each day the way that we believe God wants us to live. Am I trusting God for the strength to stay sober? Meditation for the day. These things I have spoken unto you, that your joy may be full. Even a partial realization of the spiritual life brings much joy. You feel at home in the world when you are in touch with the divine spirit of the universe. Spiritual experience brings a definite satisfaction. Search for the real meaning of life by following spiritual laws. God wants you to have spiritual success, and He intends that you have it. If you live your life as much as possible according to spiritual laws, you can expect your share of joy, peace, satisfaction, and success. Prayer for the day. I pray that I will find happiness in doing the right thing. I pray that I will find satisfaction in obeying spiritual laws. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading. Great stuff as always. The one that really hits home with me today is the 12 and 12 reading. I love this. As we glance down the debit side of the day's ledger, we should carefully examine our motives. As it says here, usually it's pretty easy. Ooh, I did that for selfish reasons. Ooh, I did that for me. I love this. When prideful, angry, jealous, anxious, or fearful, we acted accordingly, and that was that. Here's our direct steps. I love the practicality. I think that's a word of these steps. Okay. So we do a debit at the end of the day, and we look at it. We examine our motives. What do we do next? Tells us right here on 94. Here, we need only recognize that we did or act or think badly to try to visualize how we might have done better. So there's step 1 right there. Visualize how we might have done better. Resolve with God's help to carry these lessons over into tomorrow. So that's another thing. For me, pray for forgiveness and ask God for help in how to carry this lesson, this new lesson that I've just learned, into tomorrow. And then finally, making, of course, any amends still neglected. So if I owe somebody an amends, I go right to them directly if I need to. And, if it's something really, really serious, I always recommend getting a second opinion on making those direct amends. I know Joe and Charlie, they mention it, of course, in their tapes. I love the Joe and Charlie tapes. Speaking of which, I try to listen to them at least once a year. I'm due. I need to listen to them again. Bottom line is you want to get a second opinion just in case, because you don't want to destroy other people's lives that might not be privy to what's going on, just for the sake of lightening your burden. We have 3 things here. We visualize how we might have done better, and we resolve, with God's help, to carry these lessons over to tomorrow. We make those amends. I loved, again, the practicality of these steps. And my friends, I don't say this enough. If you're listening to this show and you are sober today, I just want you to know that I'm proud of you. And I know, all glory goes to our higher power, but it's clear that you're trying to live a sober life. And sometimes that takes action. And it's one day at a time, right? So if you're beginning your day, you're listening to this halfway through the day, or you're wrapping up your day, I just want you to know that I'm proud of you. I'm sure that those who love you and know you very well are extremely proud of you. And for those of you who are not sober today, that somehow you stumbled across this podcast and you're still listening at the very end of this, even after all my rambling, I just want you to know that there is hope. And if you think, man, I don't know what I would do without alcohol, I'm right there with you. That was a fear of mine. Like, what do I do? This is who I am. The alcohol was a great improver. Trust me when I say that you learn as you go. All you got to do is take that first courageous step forward. And then eventually you discover how much better sobriety is versus the bondage of alcoholism. It just takes one choice, and you don't have to do it alone, as I've said many times. The very first word in any of these 12 suggestions is we. So with that, my friends, if we're given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.